on this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, Then and Now. So, welcome back to this week's very, very special episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Sean Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined in studio again by your co-host, George Corbello. How you doing, George?
This episode is special. Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. I feel old.
Well, unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but you are. But this podcast is getting mature, I have to say.
I feel 500 weeks older right now.
Congratulations, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a big milestone for the podcast. It's a big milestone for you. We're gonna learn a lot about the history of the Crushing Debt.
Exactly.
But I got to say, this is a huge milestone for you, my friend, and I'm glad to be a part of it. That's all I'm going to say for now. Then I'll trash you later.
Well,
okay.
yeah, thank you. So speaking of history, yes, we are at episode 500 of the Crushing Debt Podcast. But I wanted to give you, so I'll be sprinkling in some statistics because I don't want to bore everybody right at the beginning of the show. Yeah, but did you know that the podcast launched episode 1? Was November 5 of 2015.
Wow.
So we are
that's
coming up on year 11.
not bad.
So, and part of the reason we're at episode 500 now is because of that first year. One of the lessons that this podcast has taught me is consistency. The first year I didn't post consistently. So, for example, I thought, well, the show comes out on Thanksgiving. No one's going to listen on Thanksgiving Thursday, so I'm not going to post that day.
Gotcha.
Dummy. They listen other days.
Yeah.
The show's out there forever.
Oh, wow.
They can listen.
What
on
a concept.
Yeah. So once I realized that, at the start of when I got to episode 53, that's when I made a commitment to really go weekly. And I think since that point, we probably are at about 49 to 51 episodes a year. I might miss a week here or there. But episode 1 was November 5th of 2015. Did you know that when it started, it was called the Yesner Law Podcast?
I would guess, you were kind of tying it to the business, so that kind of makes sense.
A little bit tied to the business.
I guess let me question that then. When did you change to Crushing Debt? That's going to be one of the answers you probably have nice and handy.
So, funny story. One of the things we're also going to talk about is guests that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Well, I had the opportunity to be on the BNI podcast with Dr. Meisner. He interviewed me for the BNI podcast. And I knew that I wanted to change the name of the show. I wanted it to be broader than Yesner Law.
Right.
Because other than maybe local people, who cares about Yesner Law? Other than me and whatever. So I wanted it to have a better name and be more recognized globally. And so I had started fooling around with names, and I don't even remember what some of the other names were. But I was being interviewed by Dr. Meisner, and he does it kind of the same way we do it, where they record in advance. So they don't necessarily record the day the episode's released or the day before or whatever. And I knew that...
People do that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
A little behind the curtain. I knew that episode 53, I was going to change the name.
Sure.
The start of year 2, I was going to change the name.
Got it.
And so I'm doing the interview with Dr. Meisner, and he said, so what is the name of your podcast? And I panicked. And the first name that popped into my head of all the ones that we considered was Crushing Debt.
There you go.
And so I said, well, Dr. Meisner, it's called Crushing Debt. And
the epiphany.
That's, again, kind of the behind the scenes that nobody sees. I named the podcast because I was under pressure.
You were panicked.
Yeah, I was panicked.
That sounds about right.
So yeah, switched to Crushing Debt with episode 53.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, if you go on to where the podcast lives, there are actually 503 episodes.
Oh, wait a minute. Is there lost episodes here that you added to the mix? What happened?
Not lost episodes, bonus episodes.
Ooh.
So episodes that came out between Thursdays. Like for example, I remember interviewing a bunch of people when COVID came out.
Sure.
And the topic of that week's or that bonus episode was what is the impact of COVID going to be on the economy? And at the time, we had no idea. We were right at the beginning.
Everybody's spitballing. Okay.
All wearing masks.
We need to hear that again. I gotta imagine it's really good.
I think we were even all remote wearing masks. Whoa.
No way.
Love it. I think it was that goofy. One of the other episodes that I did was actually one of my favorite episodes of all time, bonus or otherwise. I interviewed my friend Bridget Domingos, who's a criminal law attorney and a personal injury attorney, but we talked about the intersection of race. Okay. This was right around George Floyd and all that kind of stuff. And so it was a bonus episode that we put out. It's a fairly heavy topic. Yeah. But I'm glad we did it. I was able to learn a lot, but it was a lot about it. Basically, the questions were, what can I do as a white man to support my friends that are of a different ethnicity, a different orientation, religion. And I don't consider myself a racist guy at all, but the topic of the episode or the bonus episode was, what can I do to be better? Right. What can we do to be better? That one stands out as one of my favorite episodes. But yeah, so there are 499, or this is the 500th episode labeled episode. But
there's some bonus content. So technically, you're cheating already. That's
right. Technically, 500 was 4 weeks ago.
Got it. Not bad. We'll make it count though, so it's still good. I like it.
Right. So we've covered a ton of topics on the show. I was just doing a very brief look.
Let me guess. There's got to be bankruptcy somewhere in there, right?
Every once in a while.
We don't lose sight of that for you. I'd imagine there's we got to bring you business.
Every once in a while, debt. Every once in a while, we talk about debt.
Yeah, that's pretty
every
good.
once in a while,
I like it.
Mindset, we talk about.
I like that.
Once in a while, we talk about mindset. Also foreclosures.
Yes.
Real estate law. There's a bunch of student loan episodes out there. So if you have student loans, now student loan law has been changing so fast that who knows what of that content is.
And we're getting another one this year as well. So it just feels like we'll have another episode, I'd imagine, on that topic for sure.
Probate law, we've talked a little bit about probate law. Construction law, we've talked a little bit about. We've done a handful of episodes. And again, that's my sarcastic font on mindset. Yeah, we've done a few mindset episodes.
Well, you would think money and mindset. They go. I thought it would just be numbers. No. I would think your podcast episode about numbers and budgets. Do you think that would go far?
Yeah, no, it's not really what this podcast is about.
I like it.
Yeah, but two of my favorite kind of subtopics, and again, I kind of fell into them naturally. The garage sale topics, the sales.
Those are always
topics.
Fun. Those are always fun.
So for those of you that are new listeners, my neighborhood has a garage sale every 6 months, and so what I realized is in trying to create content for the show, the way that we sell at a garage sale is a metaphor for how you negotiate or how you do other things in your life, and so we've got a ton of episodes with that theme to it, and then the last one, kind of a little bit of a niche topic. The Freddie Mac exclusionary list.
Yes,
we haven't done one of those in a while. It may be time for one of those again soon.
A little reminder one. I do appreciate those because it sounds so simple, and yet it's an amazing topic that you cover very well. Again, give you some props there. But it's definitely something that I think opens eyes when it comes to what that topic is and what people can do about it or businesses can do about it.
Right, and again, for those that are new to the show, the Freddie Mac exclusionary list is something that Freddie Mac keeps, and it's basically a list of all different types of people that are involved in a real estate transaction. And if Freddie Mac does something, or if you do something that Freddie Mac perceives as being harmful to their loans or their loan origination process, they put you on this list, and you cannot participate in a real estate transaction where Freddie Mac is a party. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, a lender, an appraiser, a realtor, a title company, a notary, whatever. And it basically cuts out your ability to make money off of doing a closing where Freddie Mac is involved. I stumbled across it, and there's plenty of episodes that explain the story. Yep. And I've been working for the last couple of years helping people come off of the Freddie Mac exclusionary list. I help them put the argument together. I've got a couple of them that are in the pipeline even right now, where I help them put the argument together. I help them gather up all the documentation, and then we send it to Freddie Mac. And I've helped people from all over the country, not just here in Florida. I've been interviewed in some mortgage broker trade magazines about the work that I do on helping people come off the list. I have not been 100% successful. So there are people that I've tried, but for whatever reason, Freddie Mac will not take them off the list.
Got it.
But
there's no guarantee in the process. Anyways.
Right, there's never a guarantee.
Sure.
But I've helped a lot of people come off the list. I'm not 100%. I'm not 0% either.
Okay.
I think I'm above 50. I'm definitely above 50.
What's your batting average? I gotta say. So okay.
I don't know. It's better. What's the best hitter in base? Well, so what? The goal of every hitter is 400.
400 would be like outstanding.
Yeah, I'm better than that.
Okay, then there you go. Then you're doing all right, brother.
There you go. So those are the different types of topics that we've covered. I'm sure there's other topics in there that I'm forgetting. But
well, I mean, obviously we've had also many years of interviews. You obviously started off. Wasn't your first episode an interview as well, right? It was
one of the first ones.
Yeah. So interviews galore. Who are some of the guests that stood out for you when it comes to interviews?
Well, and so funny. I've said this on the show before as well. I made a commitment to get the episodes out, and right at the time that I was going to start recording, I had laryngitis. So if you listen to the first 5-ish episodes, that's not my super secret sexy voice.
Yeah, it was Luther Vandross.
No, it's not. That's laryngitis. My first ever guest was Jason Avery.
Right.
He's been a friend of the show and a friend of mine for a long time.
Yep.
He owns Avery Construction. He does kitchen and bath remodeling. He also owns a custom cabinet company that supplies cabinets to other contractors. He also owns a company called Constructing Success, where he helps contractors and other businesses through the life cycle of a client to basically help contractors grow their businesses and others too. So he was my very first guest. I think he was one of those first 5 episodes. The guest that I've had on most often, I'm sure you can guess who that is.
It's some sock lady, right?
Yeah, some sock lady. Our friend Tiffany Kellogg. I am actually right now currently in the middle of her latest book about getting back more time. And so she's been the most frequent guest on the show. In fact, that's one of my more favorite episodes is... I use the word more, which is Tiffany's thing. There was an episode where it was one of the very first episodes of the show. She interviewed me about the podcast and growing the business and the law firm and all that kind of stuff. And so it turned the tables on the interviewer. And I think the title of that show is something like Sean interviews Tiffany interviews Sean or something like that. But that was one of my more memorable episodes. That's one of my favorite.
The standout. Good.
It's always funny because you and I get done recording and we're like, that show was awesome. And then we look and it gets like 3 downloads. And then there's other shows where I look at you in the middle of recording and I'm like, this is terrible. And it gets like 1,000 downloads. So
no guarantee in the way the podcast goes as well. I mean, it's content is content. People are going to listen to what they want to listen to. We love the listeners that are consistent, right? Come on every week. There's always something to listen to, and there's always something. You're going to learn something, that's for sure. You're going to learn that 2 guys may talk for a little while, then go, what are they talking about again?
You're going to learn that we talk about a lot of nothing.
I love that, though.
For a half hour.
I love that. But it is amazing, that you're consistent with the podcast and the way you've grown the podcast and what you obviously get from the podcast itself. So, we want to say, and again, you had a really great opportunity to expand with such a knucklehead like myself. So this was, this has been a great experience with you as part of some of the growth. I've learned a lot to be able to, kind of listen in and interview. Obviously, you're very good at what you do from an interview standpoint, so I appreciate the lessons from that. But for me, it's just, being able to get the word out there and help people out. It's been a great fun for me as well.
Well, I
know that's the second episode that you love most.
Right.
It's like George's, me joining this crap thing.
Well, speaking of, your first episode was number 323.
Which is amazing.
Which was June 2nd of 2022 is when it was released. You were a guest on that show, and I think the next week's show.
That's right, yep.
And then I think there's a break in there, and then you became co-host for episode 326, which was the end of
I passed
June
the test. I passed,
yeah.
He's like, all right, this guy's
I'm
not
like,
so lame.
I can't get rid of this guy. I might as well make him a
He
co-host.
keeps showing up on Friday. He's like, where are you? Like, dude, stop coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock the door. I'm not gonna let you in anymore. But no, so actually I do think that was a significant milestone in the history of the podcast, because at that point, up until that point, it was just me. And I had a guest on every once in a while, but most of those episodes were me firing up the mic and starting to talk and trying to figure out, what am I going to talk about this week, and what am I going to do, and how am I going to say it, and what am I going to say, and are my jokes funny? And
They're not.
They're not. But having you on the show kind of infused it with a new energy, a different energy that. I was getting burnt out there for a little bit.
Burnout is real, but I think, and for me, I've been always trying to challenge you. Obviously when it comes to topics and just doing something different. But I think we've just gotten. I think we work well together. I think it's been fun, topic wise, bouncing some things are off of each other, and then of just joking around. Of course, it can be a serious topic when it comes to our finances and money, right? But at the same time, let's lighthearted a little bit. Let's have some fun while we do it too.
Yeah, and I hope that I think that comes through to the listeners. That these are very serious topics, and one of the ways that I deal with stress and seriousness and that kind of stuff is by making a joke and laughing and nothing that we say or do here is mean-spirited.
Right.
If we have offended you, I'm sorry, but put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants or big non-binary pants.
I love it. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
But,
very inclusive. I love it.
There you go. We're woke here at the podcast. But no, seriously, I do like that's kind of my style is to inject humor every once in a while, and so it's been. People asked me at the very beginning, or maybe when I was about halfway in, people would say to me, "Would you still do the podcast if it didn't make money?" Now, the podcast makes money, and we've had sponsors we can talk about, and you may or may not
get some shout-outs,
Right. You'll hear the ads at the beginning and at the end that the Libsyn company bakes in and all that kind of stuff. But I would probably still do the show, even the show does not make enough money that we can be professional podcasters.
Vacation or something?
Right,
like,
no.
We're not Joe Rogan? Is that what you're implying? Okay.
No. The podcast does support the law firm. Hopefully, it supports Corbello Financial Coaching.
Absolutely.
With SEO, with referrals, with leads, with all that kind of stuff. I would probably do the show regardless.
Yeah,
because I have fun doing it.
I mean, you seem like a talker, right? You see.
I'm an attorney. I get paid by the word.
Exactly. So there's definitely something that comes there, but I kind of agree with you, right? Just being able to. Have a topic, have a discussion, have fun with that, and just get it out there with the opportunity for someone to listen to it and really take something from it. Why not? Like, I feel it's just another way to be able to get out there. Everybody does it on TikTok, right? And does it on the other platforms. It's just one other way to be able to do that. But there's I think there's structure, right? There's some structure to it.
ChatGPT does a really good job of recording these shows for us.
This guy. I love it though. But yeah, I think that for me it's been a great I don't know, it's just been fun being able to do that and get that message out there and still smiling at it at the end of the day, just having a smile and enjoying it.
Yeah, we have so a few more numbers. We have over 232,000 downloads. From what I can tell, there may be more or less than that, depending on some of the other aggregates. We are in 46 countries. You can hear the podcast in 46 countries.
There's 46 countries?
I think
there's more.
Yeah, and you can hear us on 33 different podcast players.
Wow!
So we are wherever you listen to this show is where we are.
Available.
Apparently. I don't know how you'd be listening to us if we weren't there.
Well, I'm having telepathic ways to listen to the. No, that's pretty good. I like that. It's amazing how there's. I didn't even know there was so many platforms, but I guess they are.
There are. I mean, some of them are smaller platforms.
Sure.
Some of them are, we're obviously on Spotify.
Right,
we're
the big
on
ones.
Apple.
Mhm.
But there's some other ones up there that I could pull up that if you're happy where you're listening, keep listening.
Keep listening.
If you're not happy, shoot me an email. I'll give you some other
Right.
podcast.
Keep
players
listening,
where
though.
we're located. But yeah, don't stop listening. Keep listening. I don't know what else.
So some of the any lessons kind of stood out for you as part of the as part of the 500 episodes itself. Is there something that you wish you did as well, like something that stood out as like, oh wow, that was profound, right? And it's carrying you through the episodes itself. And is there something that you go, boy, what?
So I think two things stand out to me. The first I've already talked about is consistency.
Right.
The podcast wouldn't be where it is without some form of consistency, and I've tried to help that translate everywhere in terms of being consistent in showing up for work, being consistent in showing up for my kids, being consistent in what I do.
Right.
So that's the first lesson that I think the podcast has taught me. The second lesson the podcast has taught me is mindset. I think that's had the podcast has had a really huge impact on me in terms of keeping a positive mindset.
Right.
I mean, certainly there are days that I wake up and I'm like, I do not want to face this day.
Yep, we do that.
But overall, keeping a positive mindset. When something goes wrong, okay. People say to me all the time, one of the things that people compliment me on a lot is my ability to remain calm when there's chaos all around me.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the lesson that this podcast has taught me is that it's very rarely as bad as you think it might be. And it's often a lot better than you think it could end up being.
Correct.
And so keeping that positive mindset, and like last week's episode I was listening to, if you lost everything, yeah, you can take 5 or 10 minutes to cry and be upset and be worried and whatever. But then once that's passed, the positive mindset kicks in and, okay, now it's time to rebuild. And what do we do?
Start over.
And so I think those two things have probably been the two lessons that pop out to me.
Nice.
As things I've learned. What was the other question?
What was one that didn't? Is there any lessons you go, yeah, really? Maybe that didn't work as well as you thought it would? Is there anything that stood out?
Girl math.
The thing just keeps on giving. The girl. I gotta say those are fun episodes, and they're not meant to be. Again, it's not making fun. I think it's just. There's so much information out on social media. That one, when it was very and it's still popular, just letting you know, it's still out there. But,
I know.
But it does give you really a sense of like how people think and what their habits, what their mindset is when it comes to money. We can justify any purchase. We can justify any behavior, whether it's good or bad. We can justify it, and it's just a good example of like, yeah, okay, I guess if it works for you,
right.
God bless you, girl. That's how it can work for you.
And kind of along the same line as mindset, we've done a couple of episodes of why things go wrong. I've talked about why bankruptcies fail. We've talked about why businesses fail. And a lot of times it comes down to mindset. It comes down to not doing what you're supposed to do, not being, why do most Chapter 13 bankruptcies fail? Because people don't make the payments.
Right.
And then what I hear a lot is, well, I don't have the money to make up those payments. Well, your budget says you do. Mm-hmm. And so if your budget's wrong, let's figure out how to make the budget right.
Right.
What's really one of my pet peeves is people that, and I want to figure out how I want to say this, people that don't take...
We want to get to 501.
We want to get to 501. People that don't take personal responsibility, if that makes sense.
Yes. Accountability. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People that say, well, it's one excuse that I get a lot. It's not my fault that I fell behind on my loan. The bank didn't send me invoices. The bank didn't send me statements. Well, under Florida law, at least, your responsibility to make payments is not tied to them sending you a statement.
Them telling you.
Right. You have. Now, I do remember one case that I successfully defended where the borrower was not getting statements but was sending money in anyway. He just wasn't sending in the right amount. but because he wasn't getting statements, he didn't know that he was sending in the wrong amount.
Sure.
That one I successfully defended. But the people that say, nothing is their fault, I get it. I say to people a lot, the reason that you fell behind on this credit card, the reason that you fell behind on this mortgage, the reason you fell behind on this or that or the other thing, it's a reasonable explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would understand why.
Yeah.
Not a legal defense. So now we got to find a legal defense.
Gotcha.
Those people I'm good with.
Yeah.
It's the people that, it's not my fault, it's the bank's fault.
Right.
It's the bank's fault.
Blame game of somebody. It's somebody else's problem or somebody else's fault that something's happening to me. And I think a lot of times people, again, that's that human behavior, right? We sometimes we don't want to own up because we feel like if we own up to it, then it becomes real. It becomes our problem, becomes this. And I think sometimes we get in those situations and it's like, okay, is it helping though, right? Is it helping you to be and I want to say victim or anything like that, but it's really more of not taking the accountability for your actions. You chose not to pay. Now, again, do you have the money? There's a lot of factors that can play into it, but it's not like, it's somebody else's fault that I chose to stop paying.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about a foreclosure issue, and they were talking about the bank lost the original loan and robo-signing and all these things that were defenses back in the late 2000s.
Sure.
And I stopped him and I said to him, well, wait a minute. Did you borrow the money to buy the house? And they said, yes.
Well, there you go.
Well, then you're going to have to pay it back.
Yeah.
I get it. The bank lost the note. I get it. You borrowed the money.
Right.
You used the money to buy the house. You got to pay it back.
Yeah, it's one way or the other.
Right. Now, we can figure out loan modification, bankruptcy, you sell the house. We can figure that part out. But going this route of, well, you securitized the note and you lost the original note and the allonge doesn't match the assignment, blah, 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 blah. I mean, maybe that gets us so far, but I think it's very rare. No, I'm sure there are people out there.
Yeah, they probably could argue that
have argued that successfully and potentially even gotten a free house out of it.
Yeah.
But I think those are the exceptions, not the rule.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I see more on TikTok. There's going to be like, but you can do it. If I did it, you can do it. And it's like, wait a second, is it exception or is it standard?
I think it's the exception because what TikTok doesn't do is I live in Florida versus Georgia versus Nebraska versus California, whatever. And, even if you have two people that live in Tampa Bay, maybe they have different judges.
Right.
Maybe they have different plaintiff law firms. Maybe they have different defense attorneys. So, no two cases, even two cases in the same circuit, the same district, the same courthouse, are going to run different depending on the other factors involved in the case.
I got to say the one thing that I appreciate in the 500, again, I'm maybe I'm 200 episodes. I get that.
504, I guess. Apparently.
But, boy, I learn a lot about law. And I learn a lot from a bank. I never would have thought like, hey, co-host with a bankruptcy lawyer and be like, that's going to work. But I have learned so much in regards to probates and bankruptcies, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, what to do, what not to do, how long to wait. And it's funny, even if we have a new episode in the future, I know we've heard it, right? But it's still something. There's always something a new thing that I've learned.
Right.
Law changes, right? It's what you did 10 years ago from a law probably is not the same thing you're doing today.
Laws change?
Yeah, but again, it's so giving you credit, obviously, to be able to take a subject that probably most people go, what? That's a podcast, and be able to do what you do. And I enjoy it because I'm always learning something. I think people who are open to learning are always going to get something from this podcast, and obviously something from the brilliant mind of Sean Yesnar.
I don't know that I would say brilliant. I was at Podfest 2 weeks ago, and 2,000 people in attendance.
Nice.
And any topic you can imagine from stuff like mine. Now, I do say, I think I haven't had anyone dispute this yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are Florida's longest running legal podcast.
Nice.
Maybe the country's longest running legal podcast.
Let's
I don't
go.
know. But I'll take the Florida title for now.
Florida's fine.
Maybe even the Southeast.
I'll take that. Okay, that's all right.
And it was actually funny at Podfest. I pick up this. They have a table with all these flyers, and one caught my attention because it had the Scales of Justice on it. I picked it up, and it said, launching March of 2026, the legal pod, whatever the guy called it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I got 10 years and 500 episodes on you, bro. But good luck.
Good luck.
I hope every podcaster. There's no competition
shame.
in this space, so I hope everyone does well. But all kinds of topics.
And you're open for guest starring, to help give a bump to some of our other
guesting or having them as a guest, whatever.
It.
But all different kinds. I mean, top X-rated topics. Money topics. You name it. True crime topics.
Love it.
There were all kinds of podcasters.
Well, true crime is very popular. I know those are popular.
And it's funny when I say I have a legal podcast, they're like, "Oh, true crime." I'm like, "No, bankruptcy."
Although there's a lot of drama. Got down to ching.
Yeah, a lot of drama.
All right, so then, what's next? So what's the next 500 look like for you, my friend?
I have no idea.
We'll find out next week.
We'll find out next week. No, more guests, more
Love
topics, more. I'm sure that student loans are changing. Debt is changing.
Sure.
Bankruptcy law is constantly changing and evolving.
Absolutely.
Real estate law is constantly changing and evolving. All these topics that we cover are constantly changing and evolving. New tactics, new mindset suggestions, new mindset
new guests who are going to help us with that too. I mean, the one thing that I'm excited is when we take over Greenland. I think that will be a great opportunity for us. I know. I just needed to throw it a little there.
Take over Greenland.
Gotta be fun. We gotta be fun here. But I love the idea. For me, one thing that I do, I think for us, the guest wise, panels, right? Giving different perspectives could be opportunities, I think, for the future on topics. I know you did it once with the student loan changes that were happening. I think if we can have opportunities where we have maybe different guests, I think, and again, a little debate, I think is always nice as well. So
but no, more guests, more topics.
Yeah.
I mean, we're constantly brainstorming. We're probably going to do another TikTok episode or two in the future. I'm sure there'll be more garage sale episodes.
Yes,
in the future, more sales.
Tiffany will be back.
I'm sure Tiffany will be back in some capacity. Yes.
Networking, business, small business, more law, more bankruptcy, more, just learning about, budgeting, financial literacy. I think, and there's a few in there as well. So
I had one of my favorite guests that I had on was Dr. Meisner, the founder of BNI, and I said I was on his show. He was on my show, and he was talking about the intersection of debt and networking, and how to network to grow your business to help generate the cash to eliminate your debt.
The debt, right?
And so we were talking to him about that. We've got a guest coming on here in a couple of weeks. Spencer and Cameron Reynolds, the father-son co-owners of the BNI region here in Tampa Bay. They're going to be on the show to talk about a very similar topic to what I talked about with Dr. Meisner. One of the other guests that I kind of fanboyed over was Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First and
that's a big
Pumpkin
one.
Plan and all those different types of books. He was very generous to be on the show. Gave me, I think, a full half hours of time. That was a great conversation with him. That was one that that episode, regardless how many downloads it gets, I'm still really proud of that episode.
We might have to reissue that one so that it gets back on the top there for people to, so you can take a day off,
One of your favorite guests.
Yeah.
Matthew Lesko.
Love that guy. So again, it's funny aging myself, but when I was watching the shows back in the day in the 90s, he's on commercials. This guy's, selling the government programs and everything in his book and all this. And I just, seeing it was a great, for me, it was just fanboy. It's weird, right? It's a fanboy for me because it was just like, it brought me back to when I was, 8 or 9 or 10. And this guy's like, wow, he's famous. He's on TV. Like this guy. And he's still doing, looks good. Still got the wacky suits. So love it. Love it.
I'm looking forward to the day, 20, 30 years from now, where somebody's like, I had George Corbello on my show.
I love it.
Remember, he's the guy from that old Crushing Debt podcast thing. And he still looks just as bald.
Okay, I won't take that offense, but I love it. I love it.
So, I'm actually kind of interested to see where, and we have a general plan of where we want to take the show. I want to get more listener involvement.
I would love that too. I think we have to do. I understand we do pre-record it, but I'm probably gonna. I'm putting it in the universe right now. There has to be a live episode.
I've been kicking around the idea of having some type of social event.
Yep.
So we do it at a coffee place, or we do it at a bar, or we do it somewhere.
Oh, bar.
But we bring the podcasting equipment.
Yes.
And I've done a handful of episodes. Like I went to, there's a big bankruptcy seminar that is actually, as we record, about a month and a half away. Mm-hmm. A big bankruptcy seminar here in Tampa, and I went and I interviewed a couple of our bankruptcy trustees, and I interviewed a couple of my peers, and then we spliced that all together for an episode. I would love to do kind of something like that, like a live episode show where we have listeners show up that can ask us questions. I did another friend of the show, Insured Title Agency, a client of the law firm. They used to do their Become a Better Agent seminars where they would bring educational topics to realtors all over the Bay Area. I did one of those similar types episodes where I showed up with all my equipment and I interviewed people live at the continuing education seminar thing, and then we spliced it all together. We made another episode out of that. Something along those lines where we have a social event, we have people show up, they could ask us questions live on the show, we answer them or whatever. Something like that I think would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe do some more. I really enjoyed the No Spend Challenge. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun.
That's fun.
If I remember right, I forget. I think, did I win that one?
It's all right. We guess we have to try this again.
Maybe I'll have to go back and listen to that one.
I think you did barely.
And if I remember right, I took the money that I had saved up from doing the No Spend Challenge, and I forget what I got myself something with it, I think. I forget. I'll have to go back and listen.
But okay.
So
try to repress memories.
I fully prepare for every episode, as you can tell here.
That's all good.
But maybe doing another No Spend Challenge.
Yes.
Some type of challenge. The one that I'm gonna put out into the universe. The one that we had talked about this a couple of years ago, but we haven't quite made it happen yet. The fantasy advisor draft.
Okay. I like the idea.
So basically, you and I would take turns drafting different people on our team, like Dave Ramsey,
right.
Like
who would be the
Susie Orman?
People give advice, and I like it.
And then maybe have some kind of system, kind of like fantasy football, but with famous people that give financial advice
and points allotted to
and try to allot points somehow.
I like it.
I think that would be a fun challenge to do with the listeners.
I like it.
We could do like a trivia thing. That may be in conjunction with having people live.
Yep.
Do like a trivia giveaway, whatever. We could do something like that. So we've got a lot of ideas kind of percolating.
But if you have any for us, again, obviously as listeners, we appreciate and thank you for all the support and the sponsorship of the show as well. If you feel like you want to, there's something else you want to listen to, or you want to, like certain topics you want to hear, or again, if you want to be part of those types of events, again, voice it, give us the feedback so we can start to put some of that and plan that stuff out.
Yeah. Some of the other things that the podcast has given me 2 books. So the first book, very originally called Crushing Debt.
Pretty easy. Straightforward.
I basically took the first 100 episodes, transcribed them in, I think YouTube transcribed them for me at the time, organized them into chapters, wrote some transitions. That was the first book.
Nice.
Become Debt Free in Less Than an Hour. That was the second book.
Yep.
I have an idea kind of popping around
percolating.
in my brain where, because each book, Crushing Debt book and the Become Debt Free book are around 100 pages. with 4-inch margins on each side. But I may try to combine those books, maybe add content to it to create a third book that's actually, something, 150, 200 pages or so.
There you go.
That people can have. That's another idea bopping around in there.
2026 can be busy then, and let's get some of this stuff.
Well, I didn't say out. You said before the next 500. You didn't say in 2026.
My bad. I put some assumptions there. So, but now I'm putting a deadline on you, brother.
Okay, sounds good. And some of the other interesting things that have come from the podcast. One of the things, the more money at the end of the month, rather than month at the end of the money.
Phrase.
That wasn't in the podcast vocabulary when it started. That came, I think, after book number 2, after Become Debt Free, was when that came. And it was one of those things, I think I heard it from someone. If I did,
right.
I can't recall where it was, so I don't know who to give credit to.
Right.
But I remember sitting there one month doing my bills, and it had been, not the best month at the law firm. I still brought home enough money to cover all my bills.
Sure.
But I remember sitting there, I think I had to move like a couple of bucks from savings just to make sure I got to the end of the month.
A little buffer, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I almost don't have enough money to get through the month. And that's where it kind of
started getting together.
Yeah, that's where it came from. So the catchphrases, the mentalities, all that kind of stuff, this show, the branding of the law firm. I literally, for those of you that know anything about BNI is a one person per profession. So in my chapter, I am the only bankruptcy attorney. But when I started in BNI, I was the real estate attorney. Because I started in BNI in 2004, 11 years before the podcast,
dude,
10 years
crazy.
Before the podcast.
Yeah.
So when the podcast first started coming out, I had those first couple of episodes coming out. I remember being in my chapter, and I had been doing debt and bankruptcies.
Yeah.
I've been doing all that since the beginning of my career. But in BNI, I only promoted the real estate stuff because that was my seat. Well, I remember right at the time, all the debt stuff and the focus of the podcast. Some of our beginning episodes, we talk about real estate investing.
Yeah. Sure, yep.
And so the focus of the show has kind of shifted more to debt. But that shift happened right around the same time that there were a lot of people a lot of other attorneys in my BNI chapter that could also handle real estate law.
Yeah.
None of them could handle bankruptcy law. So basically, as a result of the podcast, I shifted my seat in my BNI chapter to cover more bankruptcy law. So as I go back and look over the last 10 years.
It's an influence on your whole life and work and business.
The
That's
podcast
crazy.
has done. And it's funny. We're sitting here talking. I stare at these mics all day, every day. But it's funny. People come in and they're like, what are those? and
they're not looking at your sneakers? Is that what
and I get to talk about the podcast.
Right. You get to promote it as well, even though, right. So it's amazing that it's all connected.
Yeah. I used the podcast one year for the Great American Teach-In. I brought my portable recording equipment because what first grader is going to want to know what an attorney does? So I brought my podcasting equipment, and all the kids wanted to take turns talking into the mic. Now, unfortunately, I had to delete that because I didn't have the parents' permission to record the kids. But it was still fun to go into the school and have them all play with the podcasting equipment.
That's
all that
awesome.
Kind of stuff.
There you go. I'm telling you, such a positive influence on yourself, your business, on your friends, obviously, and even your community. So I have to say, wow, that's some big meaning for a 500th episode and what you're doing here, my brother. This is great. One
more quick story.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, within the first 6 months of the show, I think. I have branded polos at first for the law firm, and then I started putting the podcast and the law firm logo on the polo shirts.
Yeah.
And I wear them a lot. Today I'm wearing my Gasparilla crew. As we record, the kids' parade's tomorrow, and as you're listening, Gasparilla will be a few days later.
Nice.
But I was in one of the restaurants in my neighborhood, and at the time, the polo shirt had the law firm logo on the front, and then on the back, right underneath the collar, it said yesnerlaw.com. and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You work at Yesner Law." I was like, "Until the boss fires me, yeah, I guess I work at Yesner Law." Why? He said, "I listened to the podcast."
Oh, wow.
And at that time, it was still the Yesner Law podcast.
Yeah.
He said, "I listened to the podcast." I'm like, "Whoa." And that's when
new.
That's when it kind of hit me that, and there's been other times. I remember Chris Kremitzos, who runs Podfest, who's a huge friend of the show. He was wearing a Yesner Law T-shirt. Him and his wife were going out. They were at Ruth Eckerd Hall to catch a concert or something. He was wearing a Yesner Law T-shirt. And somebody walks up to him and says, "Hey, you know Sean?" And they start talking. I've had people that wear the Yesner Law T-shirt. Someone will take a picture and send it to me and like, "Do you know this guy?" And I'm like, "No." I'm glad he's wearing my shirt.
We'll take free promotion any day of the week.
No idea who this guy is. But all of that has come out of the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's awesome, man. I'm telling you.
Really
but you've
cool.
created a nice Marvel universe for yourself here that lets you be able to really connect well with and obviously it helps you business and like I said personally, so that's great.
It does generate business. I do
that's
get
awesome,
business.
brother.
I get business, and I have to think that I get increased SEO.
Yep.
From because it's weekly content that's populating the website.
Nice.
So I have to think that I've got that there as well. So. Normally at the end of every episode, we do talk about Patreon, patreon.com/crushingdebt.
Support us.
If you wanted to give us 500 pennies or $500, either way, we'll take it. That helps support us and support the show. And I do want to thank, over the years, we've had a bunch of sponsors. Yeah. Sam Cohen has been, I think, probably our most consistent sponsor. Right. He owns Attorneys First Insurance. They do malpractice coverage for attorneys and title companies. We also had, for many, many years, we had our friend Mark Purvis, who was the editor of the show. He added the intro music, the outro music, which we don't have anymore. He ended up getting sick and passing away, unfortunately. But he was a great friend of the show. He was our editor for many, many, many years. So good that we just haven't replaced him.
Yeah, can't replace greatness.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. Chris Calandra with Elliott Wealth Financial. He was the very first sponsor of the show. I think I met him. I want to say I met him through Podfest. I don't remember, but he was the very, very first sponsor of the show. We had Magic Mind there for a little while. I think I still have. I wonder how long those stay good. I think I still have
you'll
some
find out
in my fridge. Yeah, I still find out. But and all the people that have supported, all the Patreon patrons, all the other people that have supported me, people that have emailed me with questions, with guest suggestions, So the show is a lot more than me. It's a lot more than me and George.
Yes.
And so thank you to everybody that's helped me get the show up, get the show running, and keep it running.
Yep, I love it.
Anything else?
No, man. I think I have to say, great episode, great walk down memory lane. And I think for me, it's the excitement of what's next. And it's always having the opportunity to be able to continue to learn with you. And obviously have fun with you as well. So that's the most flowers I'm going to give you, and we're done with this.
Another interesting statistic during the entire course of the show, the University of Miami has not won an ACC title or a national title. Just wanted to point that out.
Goodness.
Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, you're weird. It's
yeah,
okay. It's all right.
FSU still inserts itself in everything that we do. So anyway, thank you, those of you that are listening, those of you that are listening to this episode. If you've listened to a past episode, if you've subscribed in the past, thank you. We really, really appreciate it.
Subscribe. Come
back. We do this for you. I mean, we do it for us, but we do it for you all as well.
Absolutely.
So I guess with that, I will say for 500 episodes in the past and at least 500 episodes more, we hope you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. And we will talk to you next week for episode 501.
Nice.